is Sarah with Practically Writing, and today we're going to be talking about writing really good beginnings. So I need to apologize first of all because, yes, this is really late, and it's entirely my husband's fault. He borrowed my van without asking, and he broke it. Blame him. I've been super stressed for a couple of weeks trying to get all of that figured out and taken care of and everything. So it's all figured out. It's all taken care of. He owes me big and life is good. So back in the saddle. As usual, I do have some announcements that you can find out at the end of this episode. So stay tuned for that. There are a few things that you need to know about writing a really good beginning. These are some of the tricks that I use to make sure that my beginning is at least, not crappy. Whether it's great or not is an entirely different discussion, but it's not crappy. First of all, I like to open my books as though they are a movie. And by that I mean the descriptions follow the same kind of pattern that a good movie opening does. So one of my favorite kinds of openings are what I call the MCU movie openings. You have, for example, in Iron Man, the first movie, you had, this military vehicle traveling through a desert, and everybody's just kind of like dun, 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 dun. And then all of a sudden you have this glass of alcohol on the rocks, and there's Tony Stark, and that is totally classically Tony Stark, and then he says something snarky and everything's okay. That is exactly the kind of thing you want to do. Set up a really kind of dramatic scene and then have like this kind of anachronistic thing that shows up that just completely nails what your character is. Another really great movie opening that is a little less action-based is my personal favorite movie, Oscar, which if you've never seen it, and you probably haven't, you totally should. So the way that opens is you have, it's the 20s, it's Prohibition, you have this really nice car that pulls up, it's raining, very, 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 stereotypical 20s gangsters. They're like, and they open the umbrella, and then snaps, Provolone steps out, and he straightens up, and he's going to visit his father who's dying, and his father extracts a promise that you can just tell by what the promise is, by the way everyone's reacting. This is going to be really messed up to pull off. So it sets up the entirety of the movie, because that is what is going to happen, is, the movie's about this gangster trying to keep this promise. It is hilarious, and it really sets the tone for the movie. That's another way to open, is to have this very tone-setting thing that shows the initiating action. Probably one of the best tricks that I have found for figuring out where in your story to create your opening is the following. So you have this thing that is going to happen that is essentially what your story is about. The epic quest, somebody tries to keep a promise, a bad guy shows up and a superhero has to, put them down, whatever. There's a thing that is going to happen. The thing doesn't necessarily have to have already started happening, but the thing that triggers it does. For example, I have this story concept that I'm working on that is essentially a young woman is trying to break a curse, and it is all done by this one magic stone. And the stone begins to glow. From that point on, you have a full lunar cycle to complete this ritual over the stone in order to continue that. And what she wants to do is break the cycle. What happens in the beginning scene is her being just her, but what she doesn't know is that the stone has begun to glow. So essentially, that triggering incident occurs, and that's when it starts. Whether or not your point of view character knows it, the triggering event has already started. A decision has been made, an action has been taken, a magical item has started to glow, something. In Star Wars, the actions were that the battle plans had been stolen. That is what triggered the incident. Then everything, kind of cascaded from that. But that incident had already happened. We don't go through all of that. That actually ended up being a pretty good prequel movie, from what I understand. Haven't seen it. But you want that kind of impending, looming feeling of that action, that decision already having been made. Something that's a little harder to do is to bring in the story before the action happens, before the incident happens. You can argue whether or not this is actually what's happening, since a lot of times there are certain things that are already in place. The one that I'm thinking of mostly is the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, where, you have like this typical school bus, and then all of a sudden there's like this hand, and he's running for the bus, and he's trying to get on the bus, and everybody's laughing at him, and that totally sets up how he has been treated for his entire life. It sets up what kind of person he is. He's not the popular kid. He's not the one who's got it together. He's a hot mess chasing after the school bus. You find out that very day is when they're having the school trip, and the spider has already been irradiated. But, you can argue whether or not the initiating things have already occurred. But you're starting at a moment of action, even if that action is not directly related to the actual plot. Starting in and it's a thing that really describes what the characters are and who they are. You want to nail those characters down. Do not make your readers guess about the characters. The scenes can be great. The descriptions can be flowery. But if I don't care about them characters right off the bat, or at least, have some hope of caring about those characters, I'm done. And I know I'm not alone in this. There are a few things that you may be tempted to do at the beginning of your book that might not be the greatest idea. One of them is setting. We all love a really great setting. We all love a really unique world, but there needs to be a balance. If your world is truly unique, for example, an alien world, then by all means address the setting and give it a good description, but do not ignore your characters or your plot for the benefit of the setting. It is far better to jump into the character's experience and describe the setting as you go. Otherwise, you just have a whole bunch of exposition about what color the tree is. I love trees, but maybe not. Now, dreams, stories being told, legends being relayed, and of course the ever popular day in the life, this is what, happens on a regular day kind of thing, can be done well. They are capable of being done well. They are not exclusively bad choices. However, it takes some hella skill. And I, for one, know that I am not, at least right now, at a stage where I can do that well. Maybe someday I will. I've seen it done well. I've seen it done moderately well. I've seen it done where it really should have been done well, but it wasn't. In general, it's better to find something else. If you have to start with things like that, then do your very best to make sure that they are vivid, well-described, character-oriented, and exciting. as well as extremely pertinent to the plot, because otherwise why are you starting with a dream slash legend slash, what am I doing with my day? So that about covers really great ending. So that about covers really great openings. Really just steer away from things that feel kind of draggy to write, because they're going to be draggy to read, and you do not want to drag the first 10 pages, the first 20 pages, and especially not the first 5 pages. You want to really establish the tone and the action and the characters of your story right off the bat. Make sure that everything that happens in the book is actually relevant to the plot, whether it happens during the timeline of the plot, whether it happens in some sort of direct relation to the plot, but it cannot be completely outside the plot. It has to all pertain. Okay, announcements. First of all, my writing schedule has been put on delay. I have a couple of editing jobs that I'm working on, so sorry guys, I can't do both. Okay, I can, but then I would not sleep, and then I would be even more grumpy than usual. And I am grumpy. Grumpy cat is my spirit animal. Number 2, I have been accepted into a time travel anthology put out by Fiction Atlas called Counterclockwise. It is going to be awesome, and it includes A Time and a Place, which is my prequel to the Magus Chronicles, which will start with the book Threadreader. Whispers of Hope, the anthology that benefits mental health, is out and ready to purchase. If you haven't already gotten it, you missed the pre-order time, but you can still grab it. And remember, all proceeds go to benefit 2 charities, one in the United States and one in Australia. You will get my short story, Precious Scars. I have been invited to participate in the Nebraska Book Fair, which will be in Lincoln, Nebraska in August, so stay tuned for more details on that. I will be doing a little writing exercise for that, so if you want to meet me and if you want to, journey to Nebraska, it's actually a lot cooler than everybody thinks, I swear. We're not that lame. Okay, some of us are. Then you can come by and do a little writing exercise with me, and there's a few other classes that are going on as well that look awesome. It's all put together by the Nebraska Writers Guild, so fun. If you missed it, I did have a guest spot on a panel done by Go Indie Now, which covered the first 10 pages. Yes, totally inspired this blog. Okay, I get it. I admit it. I totally admit it. I cross-post my ideas, but that was a lot of fun, and I was talking with some other really great authors, so I'm going to post that link down below so you can check that out too. I will be joining Go Indie Now for at least 1 or 2 other of their videos. I know that Courtney has a little book review one that she's featuring Too Wyrd on, and there's going to be one that does like indie films that I get to participate in critiques if I want. So there's a few things that I'm going to be doing with them. Such fun people, such good people. Be sure to check them out. Again, posting the links below. In order to make up for the delay in this video, I am actually doing 2 videos this week, so catch the next one in a couple of days. Enjoy, have fun. Don't forget, you can still grab Too Wyrd and the rest of the Rune Spells series on Amazon. You can check out all of my anthologies. They are all listed under my name on Amazon. Or you can check out my Luna Grace line if you're into something a little more steamy. Still available on Amazon. Or you can find everything on my website, authorgoddess.com. See you guys later! What day is it? See you Friday. See you Tuesday. See you Pumpkin. No, that's not right. I don't know what day it is. I'm going slightly mad. We're not that lame. Okay, some of us are. A lot of us are. Not all of us are. Not all Nebraskans. Hashtag not all Nebraskans. I'm going slightly mad. Spider has already been radioactivized. Irradiated. Yeah. My lexicon broke. It finally happened. I'm slightly mad. Yeah, I think that's Queen. Is that Queen?